At 11, shootings in Portland continue to surge with no sign of slowing down. We hear from communities affected by gun violence. Plus,
it looks a little bit different this year than past years. As we know, we're working through a pandemic.
Back in the dorm and into the classrooms. How universities in Oregon are making sure students are safe this semester and later.
It's just a great slice of Portland life from over a century ago.
Accessing Portland's history has gotten a whole lot easier with thousands of photos now available right in your home. First at 11, all hands on deck. That's what Multnomah County leaders are calling their plan to bring an end to the gun violence plaguing Portland. Good evening, I'm Laurel Porter. Thank you for joining us tonight. Taking guns off the streets and adding resources to the district attorney's office are just part of the plan. Mike Benner has more, including reaction from community members.
More often than not, you'll find Mark Shipley cruising up and down Northeast Prescott. This area is just a block away from the scene of one of 7 shootings over a 15-hour span Tuesday.
It's just terrible. You know, it's just scary.
Unfortunately, the spat of gunfire earlier this week is not an isolated incident. There have been more than 915 shootings in Portland this year. That compares to 891 all of last year and 388 the year before that.
So they don't care who they're shooting at or what they're shooting at, or it just seems like there's so much violence and so much hatred that that's all they want to do is go around and create havoc.
Those community concerns are not falling on deaf ears. On Thursday, Multnomah County leaders revealed how they plan to quell the violence. They'll invest nearly $3 million into public health programs. That includes a behavioral health response team that'll respond to shooting scenes. An additional $1 million will go towards hiring 4 new prosecutors and 2 new investigators to help an overwhelmed district attorney's office respond to homicides and prosecute killers.
For many of the prosecutors in my office have been doing this for 20 or 30 years, once in a career surge in this in violence crime, that in just this year, in the first 8 months of this year alone, they've made 285 gun-related prosecutions, which is probably more than we've made in the last several years combined. As
for the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, we're told deputies are focused on taking illegal guns off the streets. So far this year, they've confiscated more than 715 firearms. That's up from 319 in 2020. Mark Shipley is hoping the county's plan to stop the violence, dubbed All Hands on Deck, will work.
I hope so.
Because he's had enough. All he wants is some peace and quiet.
I've earned it. I worked my butt off for 30 years to buy my house. And now it's scary just to go out on the street, to go home, or to be going to the 7-Eleven up on the corner. You just don't know.
In Portland, Mike Benner for KGW News.
A new initiative hopes to help with Portland's gun violence. It's called the Portland Peace Initiative. Local leaders will work with the community to learn about safety concerns and come up with possible solutions. Over the next few months, they'll hold virtual sessions while organizers will collect data to give to law enforcement officials and the mayor. If you're interested in getting involved in this conversation, you can find out more at kgw.com. Vancouver police think 2 14-year-old boys are responsible for snatching multiple purses over the last few weeks. The latest incident was on the Vancouver waterfront outside a coffee shop. A woman told police someone stole her purse from a chair where she was sitting and took off in a car. Police found the teenagers in that car. Another woman who requested we don't show her face said the same thing happened to her last week at the waterfront.
Said, "Excuse me, ma'am," and then reached over and grabbed my purse. As he was attempting to flee with it, I got a hand on it, but he got the better of me and jumped in that same car that I'd seen before, and they took off.
She says the thief racked up a $2,000 bill on her credit card. Vancouver police are looking to see if this case is connected to the other one. They say additional charges are pending. Now let's get you caught up on your other top headlines. At least 13 people have been shot in a mass shooting in Tennessee. One person is dead, 12 more are hurt. Police say the shooter is also dead. It happened this afternoon at a Kroger grocery store in suburban Memphis. Police worked to clear the store. They found victims there, some hiding in ice boxes, as well as frightened employees and customers. The investigation's still going on, and so far police have said little else about the shooter. A CDC advisory panel is backing Pfizer's COVID vaccine booster shot for certain Americans. This includes those 65 and older, people living in nursing homes, as well as younger people with underlying conditions. The panel will still vote on whether to recommend boosters for people with high risk of virus exposure. And today, Governor Jay Inslee extended the state's eviction moratorium for one more month. It was set to expire a week from now. The governor says 80,000 renters and landlords need more time to get federal funding to pay off those rents that have not been paid in some cases since March of 2020. The moratorium now lasts until October 30th. Governor Inslee is also doubling down on his vaccine mandate for state employees. In a news conference earlier today, the state currently has over 630,000 cases and over 7,000 deaths since the pandemic began. According to the governor, 10 people died of COVID in just 24 hours at an Olympia hospital. He says these deaths could have been prevented if those people got the vaccine.
We also have to be adept in understanding that we have to drive this pandemic into the ground. Even if this number comes down in the upcoming months, if we don't get more people vaccinated, it could come right back up again, given all of the changes that are happening. More children going back to school, more people going to large events, more people going inside because it is winter.
The governor expanded his COVID-19 vaccine mandate back in August. This includes most state employees and healthcare workers. Roughly 600 first responders are joining a lawsuit to challenge the mandate. Governor Inslee says he will not move the deadline. Employees must be vaccinated by October 18th. With kids back to school, there is increased concern about COVID spread in the classroom. The latest weekly report from the state of Oregon shows 750 new cases in elementary school students, with 2 in the hospital. And parents have told us they're struggling to find COVID testing for kids. Today, we spoke with Dr. Corey Fish, a pediatrician at Brave Care. He's getting a lot of questions from parents and says many factors play into why testing has become such a huge focus.
The first one is that, the jury's still a little bit out with Delta. I think still the question hasn't been definitively answered about kids and are kids more susceptible. But what we're seeing without question is that there are more kids being affected, whether that's just because there's more cases overall or because it's, specifically worse for kids. I think people are still trying to wrap their head around it to figure out.
This week, Portland Public Schools started distributing consent forms for parents to opt in to weekly COVID-19 screen testing for their kids. Students whose families opted in are expected to get test kits in early October. Other area districts are working on similar plans. It's been a bit of a headache in Eugene as thousands of people settled into dorms for move-in day at the University of Oregon. It caused big traffic jams as almost 3,000 students checked into their rooms. Students also have staggered check-in times as a COVID precaution, and jams were largely caused by students who arrived earlier than scheduled. The U of O is also requiring COVID vaccines for students and staff or a qualifying exemption. Classes start on Monday. It's going to be a busy next few days in downtown Portland, too, as hundreds of freshmen move into dorms at Portland State University. And as Devin Haskins explains, things were done a little bit differently than years past due to the pandemic.
Move-in day is the chance to spread your wings.
I'm going to carry this.
And experience life outside the nest.
You ready to get out of your parents' house?
For sure, yeah.
As for parents, they may say they're ready, but deep down,
oh my gosh, it's such a bag of mixed emotions. I'm so happy and proud of Macy, but I'm sad too.
So with carts full of all their belongings, these freshmen are moving into the dorms of an urban campus. Isabella easily thought it'd be more stressful.
But honestly, it hasn't been that bad, other than waiting for the elevators, grabbing all my stuff. I just have a bunch of things, finding parking every time we leave. So overall, it's been pretty cool.
More than 1,200 will move into the dorms today, about 1,700 in total through the weekend. It's about 500 less than a normal year.
It looks a little bit different this year than past years. As we know, we're working through a pandemic, and with that, we've done move-in by appointments only to kind of de-densify our space.
Students must be vaccinated against COVID-19 unless they have an exemption. PSU has sectioned off certain floors of the dorms for isolation should a student test positive. And after a year or more of online high school, some of these freshmen are still leery about being back in person.
Personally, me, it's induced a little bit of anxiety, but everyone here is so kind.
So it's definitely going to be a shock getting back into class next to people, especially now that COVID still isn't, it's still bad. So it's kind of concerning in that way.
And these students could soon help with the recovery of downtown businesses. Portland State University, in partnership with the city and Work Systems, is handing 600 students $50 in gift cards to spend at local shops and restaurants that are struggling during the pandemic. In downtown Portland, I'm Devin Haskins, KGW News.